Um, Good evening, everybody. I hope you guys are doing all right. I hope you guys are working on your finals and that's coming along all right. Um, I know that for a lot of you, this final was very difficult, especially given the COVID situation. And that's sort of why I've been doing these office hours. Um, because I want to make sure that you guys are able to to produce the best work that you can. Um, so what I've done here is sort of thing I've been doing all along with office hours is I'm just going to be live today from 6 to 7, mainly just shooting the shit. And then if you guys have questions about the final, you can either ask them in Zoom chat or in YouTube chat, and I will answer them live. And the reason why I prefer to do it this way is, as I've said before, many of you guys have questions, but many of you guys have a lot of the same questions. And so it's very easy for me to just to answer these questions all at the same time, as opposed to just taking them one at a time via email. So that's sort of what my plan is with this. However, as with previous office hours, I'm also not going to just sit here and stare at the ceiling for an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull up what we've been doing for the past couple of streams, and we have the end of season for our FM season, and I'm just going to keep going with this, and then if I get questions, I'll answer them. I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll answer them. It's the easiest thing for me. So I guess to recap where we were, in news, we are recently first in the league, first in the table. If you look at our schedule, so we left off with the game against York, the second game against York, where we also lost, but we lost 3-1. So, right, was that where we left off? No. Yes, that was where we left off. We did fairly okay. Or was it against Kettering? I don't remember. Anyway, we've had pretty good form, I have to say, with a couple of exceptions, including this one. This one hurt. A 4-1 loss to Gloucester, I think that's how you say that, where we did not do great, but it was a pretty rotated team. We were playing Simon Campbell, which is our super young 17-year-old right back in that game, just to give people some turnover and some chances to recover. But a couple of draws, quite a few wins. Let me get rid of the friendlies out of there because that's not really important. Whereas York, for lack of a better word, they shut the bed towards the end, where they only won one of their past 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're basically one of their past 5 games, and so because of that, we were able to take first place in the league. If I go to the Vanarama National North and click, no, not season preview, past positions, and click Boston United, you'll see that we were in second place for most of the league until right at the last second, where we were able to jump into first place. So good, I'm happy. We're going into the last game of the season, where if we lose, we could still lose this. What we need to do today is match York City's results to get promoted, which is a goal of mine, because I've bet a lot on this club being promoted. I'm way over the wage budget by about 14,000. No, sorry, more than that, $17,000 euros a year, and a lot of my best players have only agreed to sign for a year and then getting an automatic contract extension after a year. So because of that, it's really important that I win. In other editions, I don't see any questions in the chat. I don't see any questions in the chat. So is this guy. So I got this guy out of an academy in Canada. His name is Ahmed Gabachkin, I think his name is. Anyway, he is a talent. Unfortunately, I was not able to get him a work permit, a work visa to come and work. I got our first question here. If we're using a book for citing different parts of the paper, but different pages, should we put in parentheses the page number and then the footnote? Also for the footnote, I put the citation. Is that right? Okay. So this will happen often where you're using the same book, especially with the reading books for some of the questions, but you're quoting different parts of it. If you are using footnotes at the end of your full citation, you want to put in comma and then the page. So full citation, comma, page, so-and-so. If you're using a works cited page, so you're using in-text citation, what you want to do is you want to put in the parentheses, last name of the author, and then the page. Now, there are some exceptions to this rule, and that is mainly with authors that you're citing different works of. So for example, let's say you're quoting Stalin. You might be quoting Stalin in the hard line, but you also might be quoting Stalin during the NEP debates, right? We have several works that we have words that are attributed to Joseph Stalin. And so what you would do in that case, you would do Stalin, comma, in italics, the name of the work, comma, page number, close parentheses. But if you're using footnotes, that's really not necessary. That's why I recommend, because you're essentially at the end of the bottom, at the bottom of the page, doing the full citation. You're just adding the page number at the end of it. So that's sort of what I would say if you're quoting different parts of the book, right? So let's say you're doing Arendt. Let's say you're doing Eichmann in Jerusalem, right? And you're quoting different parts of that book. So what you would do is if you have a direct citation or paraphrasing, importantly, if you're talking about Arendt's points but not directly quoting Arendt, you still need to use a citation there because those ideas are not your ideas. So what you would do in that situation is you would do a footnote and you would copy out your citation either because you've made it manually or because you've gone to the internet. Doesn't really matter, I don't care. You copy paste your full citation in there. And then at the end, you put comma, page number for each specific quote. If you're using quotes that are on the same page, you can use the same sort of literally just copy paste the same citation. So long as I know in the book, or at least in your copy of the book, where you found these words, I'm happy. And again, this is not an English class, so you don't have to get this perfect. I'm not expecting perfection. What I expect is like a genuine attempt to do this the right way. And if you get it wrong at the margins, like if you put like a comma instead of a period, or if you don't put the parentheses in just the right location, or you put the date before instead of after, like it's not a big deal. I'm not a stickler for that sort of thing because that's not what I'm grading you on. Just show me an attempt is being made to do this properly. Anyway, back to FM. So I haven't been able to get this guy a work permit, and I haven't been able to send him out on loan. So he's just sort of sitting and training with the team, but not really doing anything. I'm hoping to loan him out to like somewhere like France, for example, and have him play, hoping that will work. In other news, we got our youth intake, and we got a couple of really good players. Our assistant coach is talking a lot about this goalkeeper that came in, Dave Smith, and he's okay. Like if I compare him to Peter Crook, I don't know if he's a better player, but what he is a cheaper player, and that doesn't offer us a lot different. But bear in mind, Dave Smith is 16 years old and Peter Crook is 26 years old, right? So there's a lot of margin for Dave Smith to develop into a better player. However, my favorite player, who is of course not being listed, is, let me see if I can find him. This guy, Josh, I guess Vahid. I don't know what that is from. He's a local boy. He's from Boston. I have another question here. Thank you. One last question. If you are using Footnote, do you want a works cited at the end too, or no? You don't have to. Like, okay. A works cited and a footnote system are functionally the same thing. The only difference between a works cited and a footnote system is where you have your citations. If you are, instead of putting them in a big list at the end, putting them at the bottom of each page where you cite, a works cited then becomes redundant. If, however, you're using a bibliography, that's a different story. Because a works cited and a bibliography, students often get them confused, but they're not the same thing. A works cited is everything that you have directly cited in your work, whereas a bibliography is just everything that you read and looked at in preparation for writing this paper. And so I really think that footnotes on their own should be sufficient. The only exception to that rule is if you're doing one long 10-page paper and like you'll have read a lot more stuff to prep for that 10-page paper, as opposed to like shorter papers that require footnotes. And that is like the only instance where I would recommend doing that. However, for the most part, I think that footnotes on their own should be sufficient for 99% of what you're doing. Either or, right? If you want to use footnotes, use footnotes. If you're more comfortable just sticking to what you know and doing parentheses and works cited, that's fine too. Footnotes are just designed to save both of us time. That's really what it's about. So if you don't like using those, you don't have to. So I hope that makes sense. And if you're curious about how that works, like technically speaking, I think last Sunday, I made a bit of a live stream to talk about citations. So I would recommend watching that if you have any questions. Emily came to remind me about my paper. Yes, it's been graded. It's just not been posted. Let me do that literally live right now. Hold up. I'm not going to share my screen so no one sees the grades. Don't worry. Yes, you're absolutely right. I said I was going to do that, and I did not because it completely slipped my mind. Emily, you're Monday, Wednesday, so you're 04. Just a sec. Come on, Canvas. And done. You're right. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. See, that's why these are useful. Anyway, I will keep going on here. If you have any more questions on your final, shoot them in the chat, shoot them over on Zoom if you want, and I will get to them in the order that I see them. So why am I bringing up this guy, Josh Vahid? Well, if I compare him to, he's a central defender. Let's start with that. And you might think, oh, these stats aren't great. The thing is the jumping reach. The jumping reach is like a very good natural, like this guy can jump. And if I look at his attributes, come on, attributes, you'll see that at, where is his height? At 6'4", he's also really tall, which is why I'm thinking that this guy is going to be a really good Ryan Arthur replacement, because Ryan Arthur has been consistently been our second best defender next to Hugo Mesba. However, Ryan Arthur is 24 years old and has a contract that's expiring, whereas Josh Vahid does not. Shauna says, hi, Professor. Hi, Shauna. Welcome. So yeah, I'm probably going to let Ryan, for as good as he's been for the team, and he's been consistently very good. He's got an average rate of a 7.5, which for this game is incredible. I'm likely going to let him go and play. I'd probably bring in another defender, but Josh is going to be a really good, solid bench player. And I think that if he develops well, we're going to have a really, really solid player on our hands. In fact, I'm probably, yes, he already agreed to sign a new senior deal with me starting in the summer. So he's on a youth contract right now, but he's going to be a really good player for us. What else? I think that's really it. In terms of, I do have one more thing. So I did say how I wanted to bring in, renew our loan players. I have been 50% successful here. So Dylan is going to be with us for another year. He has, if I look at his contract, he has a loan that's expiring in 2021, in which I'm paying less than 10% of his contract. Shana wants to know how to start the paper. Do we need a cover page like most history papers, or we just put our name, yada, 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 at the top of the paper like MLA format? Let's put it this way. I don't think it's that important. Like, I'm not going to grade you either or. If you're more comfortable just putting it cover page. Okay, let me rephrase. So long as your name is on it, you're good. Now, if you want to use a cover, because again, this is not an English class. I'm not testing you on like the formatting or the citation style. As long as it's if the citations are somewhere there and your name is somewhere on it, we're good, right? I'm more testing you on, did you understand the things that we talked about in class? And are you answering those questions? So if you want to use a cover page, you can. However, important disclaimer with the cover page, that if you're using the cover page, that does not count towards your 10 pages, right? So if you're using a cover page, you need to therefore use 11 pages. And I think I mentioned this in other contexts, but it bears repeating here as well, that your works cited / bibliography, if you decide to use that, does also not count towards your 10 pages. And so if you're doing traditional sort of cover note, here's my paper, and then here's my bibliography, you still need to hit your 10 full written pages, and your bibliography and your cover page are in addition to that. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's clear. If it's not, again, jump in on the chat, ask what you want to ask, and I'm here until 7 o'clock. So ask away. I'm here to answer all of your questions if you have them. So that's really it in terms of Dylan. I was not able to bring in Lewis Dunn. I am trying to bring him in for another year on loan. He signed a new contract with Colchester, but Colchester wants to give him, quote, a chance in the first team, which, they're in League 2 and they're likely going to get promoted to League 1, which is the third tier of English soccer. And I don't think Lewis Dunn is good enough for League 1. So I'm hoping that they have a change of heart over the summer, and that I can keep him in for another year, especially because, if he looks at his favorite personnel, I'm his favorite head coach he's ever had. And so I hope to be able to convince him to stay. And he's also now a favorite, loves Boston United, loves the club, loves me. I'm hoping to keep him, but as of today, I've been unsuccessful. Also, he has a father in the game who is the head coach at Carlisle. That's interesting. Huh. I guess in final players to talk about, Tristan Needham is a player that I got in from our parent club, Ipswich. And he's very good. He's a very solid player. So if I compare him to Dunn, for example, they're roughly similar, but just Needham is a lot better defensively, and Dunn offers us a lot more going forward. So they're similar players, but they're also different enough. But the useful thing here is that Needham can also play left back, and that's a level of versatility that is fairly useful. So he can play as central midfielder and as a left back. He is also on loan with me, but I'm not paying any of his salary until the end of the season. I am also going to try to keep him next year because I think he's a really good player. Gary O'Neill is this guy that I have in on trial with me. He is 36 years old and is not going to get any better. You can already see that he's starting to decline. But his mentals are really, really good and would be a really, really good mentor for some of our younger players. So I'm trying to bring him in as on a 1-year contract, but he just wants way too much money. So if I go to finish these promises and I look at how much he wants, so these salary demands are lower than where they were. He came in starting off at $50,000, 50,000 euros, which I could not afford. He's now gone down to 29. I think if I let him sit a little more, he's got a trial contract that ends at the end of May, May 22nd. I think if I let him sit a little more, I will be able to bring him in for a lower price, which is good. However, that said, I am also going to be trimming a lot of the squad by just not renewing their contracts. So if I go to contract expiration date, so these guys are all on week-to-week basis deals. But a lot of these players, with the exception of those that have automatic renewals if we get promoted, a lot of these players are players I'm thinking about just not renewing the contract. So, for example, someone like, who wants this guy, Kyle Lewis? He's a youngster in my team. Let me make sure that does not happen. Oh, I clicked immediate. Damn it. No, I want to set that for next year. So hold up. I'm going to wait. Hopefully no one offers him a contract. So this guy, Simon Heslop, for example, he's 32 years old. He's not going to get any better. He's already 2-star as our scouts sort of rate him as a 2-star, which I don't sort of agree with. But he's got a contract expiring at the end of the year, and he's transfer listed. I'm thinking that I'm going to let him go at the end of the year. Same thing with people like Brad Abbott. Dominic Knowles is a tricky one because he's a good player, but he's making $18,000 a year, and he's just not on the level of our other 2 strikers. But speaking of our other 2 strikers, I'm also thinking about letting Alassane Meite go at the end of the season, which I know what you might be thinking. He's a good, solid player. He's got pretty good in the holy trinity of attack, which is finishing, first touch, and heading. And he's got good acceleration too. He's good off the ball. Problem is that his form just fell off of a cliff at the end of the season. He's just not been good. Like if I discount all of the friendlies that he's played, he has only scored 6 goals in the league. And that's just not good enough. For context, we brought in Makengo towards the end of the season, and he scored the exact same amount of goals in the league at the end of the season. So it's not that he's a bad player; it's that he's making $20,000 a year and he's not performing, and that's just not something that I can afford. If you're going to be one of the top runners of the squad, I need you to pull your own weight. Maziar Kuyar is someone who has played remarkably well. If you guys remember, we brought him in the last live stream. He's played really well. So much so that I'm probably just going to do this live. I'm going to trigger his contract extension for next year because he's a good, solid bench player that can play a number of positions for me. And so I think I'm going to keep him around. So let's go into the match. Going into the last day of the season, we know that if we basically need to match what York does. So if York loses, we can lose because we are 1 point away from that. However, if we lose and York draws, we should be okay because we have a better goal difference. So I'm hoping that we don't screw this up in the last game of the season. Let's go into it. If we look at the tactics real quick before we do, we're playing with the normal formation that we've been playing all year. We have Mesba and Arthur, Dunn and Oresti, Penny and Carvalho with their good link-up play that's happening. Fage and Bars on the right, on the left-hand side. Jalasi in the hole with behind Makengo up front. This has worked really well for us, and I'm hoping that this will continue to work well. So I guess without further ado, let's submit. Teams opening up. And again, if you have questions for me, shoot them either on Zoom or on YouTube. I see a couple of you watching on YouTube, a couple of you guys watching on Zoom. If you guys have questions, you just ask them, and I'll answer them as best I can. So as for team talk, I think I'm going to say I don't want to put too much pressure on them because that's how they lose. I'm going to say, come on, lads, win this one for the fans and seal the title for us. Yeah, let's do that. Ooh, a couple players are stressed. Yeah, but most are doing okay. All right. I hope that'll work out. I hope that you can bite me in the ass. Journalist Galvin Gray wants to know, where it looks like we're set for another final day of the season full of drama and tension. Have you done enough to emerge as champions come full time today? We'll have to wait and see. I've done my bit. Now it's down to the players. You're third in the Vanarama North form table after a good recent run. Does that help ahead of kickoff? Good form is a great help, but only if we guard against complacency. We have the best defense in Vanarama North. Are you looking forward to another win? Has to be a balance, of course. We work on everything in training. And we're also the leading scorers in the Vanarama North. There has to be balance, of course, as I said before. Okay, let's do this. Let's hope we don't screw this up, because you're going to watch me have a bit of a meltdown if I screw this up in the last game in the season. It would be typical Mark to mess it up in the last day of the season. I guess friendly reminder, if you're watching this, that module 20, module 20, discussion section number 20 is due at the end of the day today. So make sure that, between working on your final and stressing out about your other classes, that you get that finished too. I know it might slip your mind, but just make sure you get that done. So I have the latest scores up because I want to keep an eye out on this York City game over here. So if they go down, if they go up, we know we're gonna have to score. So hoping that this works out. So we have Bars on the ball, cuts inside, tries to get out wide for Carvalho, who's gonna run to get it, and he gets it. Carvalho wins the corner. Shoot, you know what I didn't do? I promised I would look at corner routines to make sure that we took full advantage of those corners, and I just didn't. And yeah, as you can see, it did not work out as intended. Anyway, Carvalho on the dead ball, tries to curl it in. Ooh. We've scored a couple of those. Oresti has actually scored a couple of those free kicks. Carvalho tries again, hits the wall, no dice. Now, Nicholson sets it forward. It would be very typical of us to concede a set piece right now. We're at home. We're in front of our fans. I really don't want to mess this up, but, we might. We might. Dylan gets a yellow. Penny throws it in for Jalasi. Done. Gets it up from Makengo. Carvalho. Penny. Come on, Penny. Carvalho. What's he going to do with it? Gets it back for Dunn. Dunn gets it back for Arthur. We've been boring in this game, although Carvalho gets it now. Cuts inside, looking for a space to pass it. Dunn and Jalasi go back and forth. Bars wins it back. Dunn, Bars, Jalasi. Makengo. All right, come on, square it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Anyway, 0-0 in 25th minute, and York has gone up front. So as of right now, if I pull up the league table, York would be champions, which I'm not happy about. But yes, as of right now, York is going to win the Vanarama National North League. Oh, God. Come on, guys. We need to score. Anyway, Hall kicks it ahead. So we're not losing. That's the thing. So long as it's a draw, we have a chance to win it. I don't want to be racing against the clock trying to score several goals. Anyway, Dunn in midfield. Gets him in the middle for Aresti. Out wide for Carvalho, who is going to be able to keep it on the pitch. Carvalho back to Penny. Squares it. Carvalho, Aresti, Jalassi. Oof! I should have scored that. That was a good shot. That was a good chance. We're almost going to hit halftime in like 15 minutes, and we have done nothing in this game. Nothing at all. Jalassi out for Dunn. Gets it out wide for Bars. Bars is going to hopefully cut inside. Dunn. With Dylan Fage. Who was offside too. Oh, come on. We have not played well. Like we've had most of the possession and we've had shots on target, but we're just not converting them. We're not converting them into goals. And I really don't want to go into the playoffs right now. To be clear, if we don't come in first, we still have a shot to get promoted, but we basically have to play all of these highlighted blue teams again in the playoffs, and I don't want to do that. Anyway, done. In for Bars. How are they playing? Because they seem to have a really low block. And, they're playing essentially with 6 defenders. That's good. That's great. And, of course, Bars just got injured right now. Twisted knee. Oh, in the meantime, Gateshead has also drawn level with York. So we are now back at the top of the league, but Bars has got a twisted knee. I have 2 options here. I can bring Aresti up top and then put Needham in the bottom. Or, as I'm probably going to do, I'm going to bring in Maziar Kuyar, who is more natural in that position, and I think that's a pretty solid choice to do. So that's what I'm going to do. Confirm that substitution. Again, if people have questions about the final, shoot them in the chat, shoot them in the Zoom call, and I'll answer them as soon as I see them. Anyway, Bars is going to come off for the injury. Kuyar is going to come on. They have a corner kick. Owen Evans out wide to Nicholson again. Skips past his man, but Penny is there. Now let's hit them on the break. Come on, Carvalho. And that's so much for that. Anyway, Carvalho puts it in for Arthur. Doesn't put it in the frame of the goal. Half time, and we have done nothing. Well, I won't say we've done nothing, but we've not played well. So I want to say in the dressing room that I am far pleased. And I think tactically, what I'm going to do is, I think Dunn and Aresti are offering us enough creatively to not also need Jalassi to do that. I'm going to play Jalassi as a shadow striker. And so shadow striker is going to get essentially going to play as a striker, but a little further removed from the penalty area. So he's going to try to get in the spaces that Makengo opens up with his movement and try to get on the end of crosses. And hopefully that'll work out. Let's start second half. Arthur for Mesbah, for Dylan Fage, for Dunn. I guess while we wait for something interesting to happen, I did want to talk about plans for fall and the summer. So, for the fall semester, I have some courses that I'm set to teach for the first time. I think I mentioned this in class, but I have developed with MCC the first ever comparative politics / international relations course that the school has ever offered. And I developed it. It's my baby. It's been my pet project for the past couple of years, and it's finally on the schedule for fall. And so, if you need a social science requirement and are interested in things that are perhaps a little more politics focused, definitely take a look at that. And let me know what you think. Let me know if you're interested in that. I would love to, and I think that I think it'll be an interesting time. I've never really taught it, but I think it'll be good. Natalie wants to know if the footnotes are double spaced like the rest of the paper or 1.5 spaced. Neither, single spaced. Yeah, it would be a very easy if all of your footnotes were double spaced. No. Footnotes are single spaced, but they're also 12-point font. So by default, your footnotes are going to be in 10-point font. Feel free to make those 12-point font. Make them larger font, but those are single spaced. Yes. So if you're using footnotes, don't try to cheat and make them double spaced. Make them single spaced. Not to say that you were trying to cheat, but easy. It's a very easy paper if your footnotes can be double spaced. I don't know who it is that's asking this question, but Kedro wants to know, I'm having trouble accumulating 10 pages for the final. Would there be any credit if I wrote 5 pages, for example? Yes, but bear in mind that the final is worth a lot. So partial credit for the final is not a lot. What I would recommend is to answer more of the questions. You don't have to answer one or all of them. You have to answer. Look, some of the questions are much better suited to be treated as like papers than they are short answer questions. And so what I would do is I would look at the syllabus and I would look at things like the one that comes to the top of my head immediately is the question on comparing the Darkness at Noon trial to the Eichmann trial, and how they're similar and how they're different. Like you could write a lot on that if you wanted to, because there's so many citations that you can pull from either book, and that's sort of why that's there. But what I would recommend is just answering more questions, just doing more legwork. And if you've already answered all of the questions well, there are 20 questions, so like you could hypothetically just keep answering them. I don't know. Short answer is you'll definitely get partial credit, as we just scored an outrageous free kick goal. Outrageous. I don't know if that was the keeper that screwed up, but anyway, I will take it because now we've moved up to first position. And okay, no, it was the goalkeeper that screwed that one up. Anyway, short answer is yes, you will get credit, but the longer answer is it's not as much credit as you think you'll get. So I would definitely recommend trying to write more. Like there's strong penalties for not meeting the requirements of the final. And on a more personal note, if you're just starting this now and you can't reach 10 pages, pardon my French, but no shit. I did warn you, like from the very start of the semester, that this is not a final that's meant to be done in 24 hours. This is a final that's meant to be done over the course of the semester. So for those of you that have been working on it since, I don't want to say like since September, but like since maybe Thanksgiving, you'll have found this assignment pretty simple because you just write 2.5 pages, you write 4 questions, 2.5 pages each, and you're done. So yeah, get it done, get it finished. I really take strong penalties on people that don't do the full 10 pages because like there are no requirements for this final except for that one, and so if you don't hit that requirement, it's kind of a wasted thing. Yeah. So if you're having questions about the final, ask them. I'm happy to answer as many as I can. I see no chats on Zoom and I see no more chats on YouTube. So yeah, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for another 20 minutes or at least until this game is over. And I guess maybe I'll continue up a little bit until we hit 7 o'clock. But yes, that's where we're at. Speaking of this game, we are at 1-0. Chester is winning 2-1 in the 85th minute. We have a couple options here. Option number one is to just be a little more defensive and just try to soak pressure. Option number two is to go for it. And I am thinking option number one is a little safer. So I'm going to take off, I think I'm going to take off Gelasi and put Aresti up top. Actually, no. No. We're going to change things a little bit. We're going to bring Aresti back down, box to box. Dunn is going to play deep lying playmaker on defend. And Tristan Needham is going to play deep lying playmaker other way around. Deep lying playmaker on support, deep lying playmaker on defend. I'm going to try to get a little more coverage in the back. And I also think that I'm going to take Dylan off and I'm going to bring in Alex Whittle, who is a lot more defensively minded. And we're going to play them as no-nonsense fullbacks. Stay in behind. Don't try to go forward. Yeah, just keep this simple. And let's put cautious. Not fully defensive, but cautious. So, yeah, this should work. It's going to leave Makengo a little isolated, but I'm thinking that we have enough speed up front to catch them a little bit on the break. I hope that I'm right on that. I guess we'll see what happens. Latest scores. So York's game ended with them winning. So if we concede now, we're screwed. All right, come on. Yeah, they're going for it. Gabe wants to know, are citations required because a lot of the questions I've been answering I've been fine with my notes alone. For example, my Reformation question on notes alone is already 2.5 pages. I mean, look, there is a rubric for written assignments on the syllabus that says that, officially speaking, an A paper has citations. Now, what I would advise you is to say, look, if you've written 2.5 pages on the Reformation without using any citations at all, then if you add your citations in, then that's an easy way to make that 2.5 page paper a 4 to 5 page paper without really doing any work. Because if I remember correctly, the Reformation readings are not particularly long. So if you put those in and then you're using footnotes, like you can, from just a practical perspective, it's going to be easier for you to hit your page requirement if you're using footnotes than if you're using citations. Again, you don't have to, but why would you make your life more difficult? If you're answering more questions and without using citations, that's more you have to produce, more you have to write. Citations are good because they make your paper stronger and they make you do less work. So I am a big proponent of citations. My paper is when I was at college full of citations because you want to write as little as possible. This is not grad school. If you are cohesively connecting more than one reading together and producing some independent thought in answering the questions, you've done 90% of the work already. So that's what I would recommend. Anyway, Carvalho gets a foul, which is exactly what I need to happen. And they just got a man sent off. Okay, Carvalho tries to curl one in, and if he had scored another one, I would have given him the Ballon d'Or. I don't care if he's in the 6th tier of English soccer and there are better players, but Ballon d'Or, People's Champ, Ballon d'Or in my heart, and that's it. We won. We're champions of. I don't want to say the world, but definitely of the English 6th tier professional, semi-professional soccer. Post match, 1-0. I'll take it. No worries, Gabe. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. That's why I'm here tonight. So we are champions of the UK. Passionately say congratulations. Enjoy your success. Okay. I just got a Steam achievement saying that I got promoted. Thank you, Steam. I tried very hard. Anyway, um, Vanarama North is won by Boston United. Our most impressive game was the 7-1 victory against Bradford, PA. I would agree. Our best player was Lewis Dunn. I would also agree with that. Unlikely yet jubilant success for the Pilgrims. I'll take it. I'll take that. We lift the Vanarama North Trophy on the final day with a free kick by Denilson Carvalho. Okay. Kirsten Ashton make the playoffs. Bars is injured for 6 to 9 days, which is not terrible. Our initial budgets for next year are, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. If I compare that to where my finances are, damn, okay, I can do a lot with that. Especially because I rarely buy players at this level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to transfers, and I'm going to go to transfer budget, and I'm just going to, oh, it's not letting me edit this yet. Okay. Well, as soon as I'm editing it, I'm taking the full $181,000 in transfer and putting it directly into the, $130,000 of euros of transfer and putting it directly into the payroll budget. So far, so good. Lane has been praised by the Boston United supporters. Well, thank you. Thank you. And the board is happy with my win. You know, I aim to please. And we hit the progress with our club vision. Shines, Carvalho shines as Boston United win. You were superb with the number of quality of chances you created. Thank you. Okay. Now, I want to hit forward because I want to get the end of season achievement, end of season awards. So at the end of the season, all the managers and all the players vote on who the best player was, and I want to see if Lewis Dunn ends up winning it. So we've won the Vanarama National North. And it's also important to take a look at players that were teams that were relegated, because chances are you can get their players on, you know, essentially for a prayer. And I want to see who is available. So who is their most expensive player value? Easily, it's this guy, Aram Soleiman. He's not bad, you know. He's a good sort of Milan Bars like player. He's a little more technical. Huh. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to declare my interest for transfer. That usually tends to unsettle players, because you know, players, especially if they immediately got promoted, they will want to move. They want to move clubs. They don't want to play in like the amateur leagues, because we're one team above the one league above the amateur leagues. Well, now we got promoted 2 leagues of the amateur league. But you know, we had a lot of professional players that don't want to play for the amateur leagues, and I don't blame them. End of season awards. Here we are. Fans player of the season was Lewis Dunn, followed by Amara Jalasi, and then Ryan Arthur. Our goal of the season was Tom Platt's goal against Southport. What goal was that? I don't remember this one. Have a look. So here it is. So Jalasi runs forward with the ball. Yes, and passes it to Platt, and Platt hits it first time. Oh, yeah. Was this in the first game of the season? No, this was not the first game of the season. Anyway, okay, cool. Signing of the season was Amar Jalasi, and young player of the season was Lewis Dunn. I would have flipped these. I would have made Lewis Dunn signing of the season and Amar Jalasi best young player of the season. Our moment to forget was our 3-0 loss to York. I would agree. Match of the season was someone victory to Bradford Park Avenue. Our stadium is only 21% full, which is bad, but also good, because it means we can as we go up the leagues, we can fill it more and make more money without building a new stadium. Um, club vision and season expectations. Next season, they want us to play defensively solid football. Absolutely not. So we're going to have to change this. Let me negotiate this. I don't want to play defensive soccer. I don't want to play possession soccer. High tempo pressing soccer, yes. In the club culture, they want us to reach the top half of the Vanarama National as a minimum expectation next year, and then hoping the year after, right? Yeah, hoping the year after to hit the playoffs of that required. So they want us to be out of the Vanarama National in 2 years before my contract expires. I guess as a condition of getting my contract. Okay. So if they'll agree to this stuff, no. I also don't want to make the most of set pieces. I do want high pressing file. Suggest. Yeah, no. No. Oh my God, these guys are really going to make me do this. Okay, fine. Possession soccer? Okay. Confirm. I can do this. High pressing possession soccer. Make the most of set pieces. I'm going to try to get rid of that going forward, but no promises. Anyway, finish. Squad dynamics update. Scott Garner became a highly influential player. The irony is that Scott Garner is leaving in 2 months to go to AFC Telford. Oops. Anyway, yeah, I think it's no coincidence that a lot of these players, Shields and Middleton especially, they're also going to be leaving. End of season team meeting. Discuss plans for next season. You've done brilliantly to get us promoted this season. You all deserve a good break. Hopefully, when you get back, there will be some new faces around here to help you get a mid-table finish next time around. That's what I'm going to say. More players want us to be more ambitious. Have engaged the collective reaction. I'm saying I'm being ambitious enough. We should be aiming to make the playoffs. Oh, I screwed that up. Okay, I'll be assertive and say I'm confident we can do what I said, and I won't say anything less than your best helps achieve it. I don't think you're setting as an achievable target. I respect that all of you has your own opinion. Well, I screwed that up, didn't I? Okay. Season injury report. Yeah. So one of the reasons why we were able to get Needham and Kuyar is because they were coming off longer term loans. Can I loan him again? Too soon. All right, guys. It is nearly 7 o'clock. So if you're looking to answer one last question, now's your chance to get that done. And if not, then I will keep this simple. Make sure that you guys have time to finish the what's it called? The discussion section for tonight. Make sure to get that done. Don't forget. Don't let it slip your mind. I know it looks like an easy thing to forget, but make sure you get it done because 5 points, it adds up. Anyway, a bunch of our end of season contracts are getting extended. We've broken a couple of records. So Carvalho broke our goal scoring record ever of 13 goals in the season. 12 assists by Milan Bars is the assist record. Dunn set the record for most player of the match awards. And then Ikalainen set the new shutout record. I will happily take all of that. And the Heslop says that he is retiring at the end of the season. So there we go. I'm actually really happy. So if I go to Club Vision and I go to history and I go to records, I am happy that most of these are mine. Denilson Carvalho, most goals in a season. So we're hoping to I'm hoping to improve this and make sure that we're doing better. Who got promoted? Who's getting relegated from the Vanarama National next season? That's a good question. Go to Vanarama National League North and go up to the Vanarama National League, and I go to the league table. Bromley, Harrogate, and Dover are all getting relegated to where I am right now, which is actually probably a good thing because that means that I can probably pick up their players cheap. So if I look at Harrogate Town, for example, who's worth buying here? Sam Jones, meh. Mark Beck, kind of slow if I compare him to Mete. Yeah, honestly, this guy's probably better defensively than he is going forward. Connor Hall, central defender. Ryan Fallowfield. So I think if I'm looking at the team and I'm looking about where I need to improve this team, I'm thinking I want another couple center backs. I think Hugo Mesba is a great player, and I'm definitely keeping him around. Contract extension after promotion. I definitely want to keep him around. And our left back position with Dylan is solid, but I think I want improvements all across the defensive line. And if we lose Dunn and Needham, I want another central defender. So I have about 5 more minutes left on the stream. So your last chance to get your questions in for the final before I start wrapping things up. Kind of don't see any. I guess as a general point of how I operate this class, some of you know this because you've taken course with me, some of you don't. I will try, emphasis on try, to get all of the grading done by Thursday night. Natalie wants to know, do you want questions and answers to be separated by pages, or do you want to blend it all in and just bold the questions? The latter. No page breaks are required between questions. Just as soon as you're done with one question, double spaced, enter, copy paste the question, bold, treat it like it's the title, and then move on to the next question. I guess like if you're towards the bottom of the page, then you can put in a page break, but like don't leave me middle page ones, right? When I said 10 full pages, I mean 10 full pages. And so I would recommend doing that. If that makes sense. I want to see if now that we got promoted and that he hasn't found a club yet, if this guy Yasser Kamiri will now finally sign for me. Because Yasser is a solid defender, a little bit better than Mesba, but he was just uninterested in joining our team. The second question is can I get my boy Juan Arcas in? Because I love this guy. This guy in my other in a previous FM for me was phenomenal. Yeah, there are like a couple of players here that I was very interested in bringing in that I put in my short list. Sean Moore. I guess let's start with overview. I want to pick their contract. I want to see who's expiring. Who can I bring in basically for free? So this guy, Sydney Obisa. Not great. Removed from short list. He's not an improvement on Arthur in any sort of meaningful way. Diogo Pereira is a midfielder who I mainly looked at for his physicals. If I compare him to Dunn, yeah, no. Also, let's do some cleanup here. Remove from short list. Luka Nakov at Billericay was a goalkeeper who I was looking at before bringing Kalinin. and then I went for Economy because Economy is just better. And also his contract is not expiring at the end of the season, so that sort of solves that for me. Jakub, oh God, how do we say this? Orjaniski plays in the States, plays here in, I think it's Columbus Crew, the academy. Very good striker, but I don't think I'll be able to sign him. So if I compare him to Alassane Meite, who I'm probably going to release at the end of the season, you'll see that it's a better player. But, oh, he does want to join. Now, this is interesting. I think this is going to be our first. Oh, yeah. So, weird thing. Well, not a weird thing. In FM, players cannot move abroad until they're over the age of 18. And so this guy looks like a really good player, but because he's 17, if I sign him, he would only be available starting next January. Now, hypothetically speaking, how much does he want? It's not crazy unreasonable. All right, I'm going to think about it. Because he's not being crazy about it. This was a potential left back I was looking at, a left back option to get rid of Whittle as our bench player. The problem is that he wants too much money. If I approach to sign him, he doesn't even want to play for me anymore. He used to want to, but he wanted way too much money. So, not a fan. Let's see. David Moyo. I was looking at this guy. Mainly for his physicals. He's a Zimbabwean striker, but he has English nationality. But what I was thinking is that if I compare him to, let's say, Dominic Knowles, you'll see that he's not as good as my other players, like in putting the ball in the back of the net. But he's really good with hold-up play. He's good. He's fast, and he's good in the air. And so if I could train this guy to be a bit of a target man, to sort of win big balls over, and then head it down to my faster sort of Jalassi, Carvalho, and Lars trio, that would not be the worst idea. Attributes. He's 6 foot, and he's 196 pounds. That's a big boy. I'm gonna see if I can't sign him. I think this is a good, solid first step, and he will be replacing Knowles in the team. Guys, it is 7:02, so I think I'm gonna start wrapping this up for the time being. I know many of you have other questions, but I don't want to be here until 9 o'clock again. So I think what I'll do is I'll wrap it up here. We watched the game of the season. You saw me get promoted. You saw me be victorious. I answered a bunch of questions you guys had about the finals. And yeah, I think I'll call it a day here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was helpful. I think this will probably be the last time you see me live on YouTube. Unless I do one recapping how the final went. And if I do that, it'll probably be on Friday before I submit the grades to the college. But actually, no. Let's keep the grade discussion to email format, just to be, to people don't need to hear about your grades. Anyway, in a public format like this. So I guess some final notes. It was all a pleasure to have you. It was a pleasure to have you all in class. I know the end of this this year was a little weird. I'll be the first to say that. I'm looking to make this a little more streamlined for the fall. If we're required to do this again, I hope that we won't, but can't guarantee that at this point. So shoot me an email if you have any questions, and I'm happy to answer them. Shoot me an email going forward if you need things like letters of rec and whatnot. You know how to reach me. And that's really it. I will see you guys soon, hopefully. And if I don't, you guys have a wonderful summer. Enjoy it, and please stay safe. I know this is hectic for a lot of you, but I've said this many times. We will get through this. We will. All right, guys. Pleasure. Godspeed. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.